I know this looks crazy, but winter backpacking is a truly enjoyable and magical experience. There's nothing like the peace and the quiet and the solitude that you can get from winter backpacking. You don't have to go far to do it, and you don't have to be the most experienced outdoorsman on the planet Earth. Anyone can winter backpack. All you have to do is stay warm. Staying warm while sleeping is a big key to enjoying this experience and continuing to do it. You're gonna have to take a look at your current backpacking sleep setup and know where you need to upgrade and what kind of tools you're gonna need to stay warm. I think of the winter sleep system in the same way that I think of like winter clothing and the layer system. There's layers to your winter sleep system. You might need a couple of them, you might need all of them. You might have some gear that works as some layers, and you might need some more gear to just push those layers a little bit farther. So let's get into the layers of your winter sleep system, starting from the bottom. The bottom is actually the most important piece of your winter sleep system. It's not your sleeping bag. I would say about 90% of the cold that you're gonna experience at night isn't gonna come from above you. It's not gonna come from around you. It's gonna come from below you. The ground in the wintertime just sucks all the heat out of your body from below. And especially if you're using a down sleeping bag, we know that once we compress down, it stops working as well. So if you're laying on your back is exposed. So you're gonna really need a good ground layer if you plan on sleeping on the snow. So the first thing I like to start with is a closed foam pad. Of course, this is not gonna be your only pad, but this is a nice way to get started. These things are very light. They're pretty bulky, but you can just attach them to the outside of your backpack, and they're relatively cheap. This is the Nemo Switchback. It cost me 40 bucks. I got it from REI. You can really use any closed foam pad. It's made to reflect heat back up. It also keeps your air mattress from sliding around, which I like, and just adds a little bit of extra cushion, a little extra support. You might not need this, especially if you have a great sleeping pad, which I think is the most important piece of gear for your winter sleep setup. So this is the Sea to Summit Etherlight Extreme Sleeping Pad. It has an R value of 6.2, and this version of it weighs a little bit over 2 pounds. This is the most important piece of gear that you need. I slept on this thing last night. It worked great. It's about 4 inches thick, so it's actually even more padding than your traditional sleeping pad. It kind of feels like you're sleeping on a mattress, and I got a beautiful night's sleep last night. I was very cozy, very warm. I'm a side sleeper too. This was great for side sleeping. One thing that this has, which is a little gimmicky but also nifty, is you are not supposed to blow air directly into your sleeping pad. There's moisture in your breath that goes into the pad, that lowers the R value. It loses its effectiveness. So this bag actually turns into a pump that you can use for this thing, so you don't have to do that. Most people just carry a little battery powered pump, but hey, if you don't have one of those, it's cool that Sea to Summit gave you a workaround. So in my research for cold weather sleeping pads, I came across 2 sleeping pads. This Sea to Summit sleeping pad and also a Thermarest sleeping pad. I believe it was the Thermarest X-Therm. The reviews for the Thermarest were great. It has a slightly higher R value. My regular sleeping pad doesn't fit ideally. Like sometimes I'll have my feet hanging off or one arm will be touching the ground, and you really want every part of your body on top of your sleeping pad in the wintertime, because again, if your arm is touching the ground, you're gonna have a cold arm. Sea to Summit makes this sleeping pad in a large version. That's the one I have. I believe the regular version of this is 190, and this version was about 210, where the Thermarest is about 250. So this one's a little cheaper, and in my experience last night, it worked pretty well. Now I know you can't tell what this gelatinous mess is here, but this is my sleeping bag. This is a 0 degree sleeping bag. I went with the Mountain Hardwear Bishop Pass Zero. It works really well, and I found for a 0 degree bag, this one to be very well priced, coming in at around 300 bucks. They also make it in a long version, which is what I have, and it weighs under 4 pounds. It's down. You can go a lot of different directions with your sleeping bag out here. I mean, they obviously make sleeping bags that are much, much warmer than this one. Even Mountain Hardwear has their Phantom Zero, which is about 900 bucks and is lighter than this. They make negative 20 degree bags. Again, it just kind of depends on your budget. As these things get into the 0 degree lightweight range, they just get super, super expensive. Now, here's the real question. Can you get away with your 15 or 20 degree bag that you use in the summertime out here? This is the Sea to Summit Thermalite Reactor sleeping bag liner. Extreme. I did a whole review on this thing. Link to it is in the description, card up top. I've been liking this thing more and more. I have become a sleeping bag liner enthusiast. It's super soft. It just gives you a better night's sleep. This thing claims to add 25 degrees to your sleeping bag. I don't know if that's true, especially in the core area, but where this really helps is in your extremities. I like to think of the sleeping bag liner as super glue, where it just kind of shores up some of those cold points in your bag. Like for example, your feet really works well with your feet and your arms. If you have a really good sleeping bag, like an expensive, solid sleeping bag that you know, hey, this thing really, really works well, or you think it really, really works well, I might take a shot at winter backpacking or winter camping without investing in a really expensive 0 degree bag right away, honestly. You know, it looks cold out here, and it is, but the low out here didn't drop below 20 last night. Like I said, the sleeping pad out here is really the big thing that you need. And I suspect that most of you, if you're doing winter camping, are not doing extreme winter camping. You're picking a nice spot on one of the warmer winter days. You're probably looking at what, 28, 25 as lows. So if you have a really good sleeping bag and you have a really good 15 or 20 degree bag, maybe invest in this thing for 80 bucks and see if you can get away with it. Actually, no matter what bag you have, I do recommend the liner. It's super nice, it's super soft, and the added bonus is this is much easier to clean than your sleeping bag, so you could just pull this out, throw it in the washing machine, keep your bag fresher longer. So this is my pillow. This is obviously an inflatable pillow. So the thing about an inflatable pillows is it is going to have the same issues, so to speak, as a sleeping pad. There is no insulation to this. You blow into it, which even lowers whatever R value, if there was any to this, which there isn't. So in a lot of research I've done, people make suggestions for upgrading your pillow. There's a couple of different ways you can do this. You know, you can go with a real pillow. I know Dan Becker loves the Thermarest pillow. I have one of those pillows. I just find it to be so big and bulky. If you have room in your bag, I guess it would be great. It would be more insulated, but it's so big, it's so bulky. Sea to Summit, if you get a Sea to Summit sleeping pad, they also make pillows that lock into the sleeping pad. They make one with down on top of it. That would be a little bit more insulation to it. That's a $70 pillow. The other thing you could do is get like a fleece pillowcase. They make fleece pillowcases that you zip. Honestly, the way I use this is I shove it into my mummy bag and then I sleep on top of it. I have not found any issues with just using my pillow like this. I mean, if you are really all about the warmest night's sleep possible, you can definitely upgrade your pillow in one of those manners. I probably won't fix it. I mean, I probably will, but not right now. But honestly, what do you think? I am truly curious. I haven't been doing the winter backpacking thing long. I'm sure there's tons of you on the internet that have found things that work, things that don't. I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to get better at this backpacking thing, sleep better, stay warmer. So if you have any tips or suggestions, please leave them in a comment below. If you actually want to see the gear in action, here's a fun winter backpacking for you. More gear reviews in the playlist up top. Thanks for watching. See you next time.